by the time they got done with the plan, it was actually, we talked to each other. We're like, this is safer than us staying in our hometown.
Yeah.
And so then we kind of made the decision, like, let's do it.
So what was your strategy kind of going into this? And what was the most challenging part for the both of you?
Strategy. That's a great question. Did we have strategy?
We did.
We did.
So
okay.
our original strategy was to prepare as well as we could. That Kim was kind of in charge of that. To watch as many old races as we could to try to get ourselves in the feel, because I think you hear from everyone that when you're on the race, like everything kind of goes out the window. So getting a familiarity with what it was like. As part of our preparation, we went to counseling and learned how to communicate.
It wasn't part of our, by the way, we
went to counseling because we needed to go to counseling.
We didn't go for the Amazing Race.
That's a good point. But we also made agreements on the way that we were going to talk to each other and how we were going to talk to each other. Like our number one goal was like, let's just not get mad at each other. Let's find a way to reconcile that. So really a lot of our strategy was based around the way that we would communicate with each other. And then on top of that, we really didn't want to announce ourselves as like, we're the team to beat. And at the same time, didn't want to ruffle any feathers as far as making alliances that you can't make or making enemies that you shouldn't make, right? Like we tried to just kind of be chill about all of that.
Be chill. I think communication was definitely our superpower. And the biggest, I mean, besides training, like going upstairs with a weighted backpack and the physical training we put in, the conversations we had ahead of time were just how we were going to be. You're going to make mistakes. You're a human being, and how we can show each other and ourselves some grace in those moments.
Yeah. How would you say that this experience changed your relationship, if it has at all?
It was, I'm not going to say it was a honeymoon. I think it was a super stressful honeymoon, if anything, but it did show me, you don't have access to technology or a cell phone. You spend a lot of time in a hotel room, and a lot of times there wasn't any English speaking TV. So there's not a lot to do. I have to say, when you take all the duties of real life and the 1,000 things you have to do in couplehood and parenthood, and you strip that away and it's just the two of you, it really reminded me like how good we are at our core. I think that we had a great relationship going in, but just being able to focus on each other was really, it was great.
Yeah. One of the things you don't realize when you go on the race is it really is a digital diet. I mean, people talk about wanting to do that in real life. Like let's put down the screens. Let's get away from the televisions and really focus on life. And that's what it is for several weeks. It's a digital diet. It's part of the rules of the game, but really the unintended effect is you are with your partner and you're present for your partner much more than you used to be. And we got to the point where we were like anticipating each other's moods and picking up on, my anxiety, her anxiety that comes with mental health. And so I'll say the same thing. I felt very close to her because of all of that and because everything else was stripped away.
Was it ever just difficult or to stay motivated and focused on the Amazing Race after it was put on hold for so long because of COVID?
It wasn't difficult because we assumed it was never going to happen again. Like once the world shut down, and then we got to look at sort of the global landscape and how difficult travel was. It really kind of changed everyone's habits. And so after about a year, we were just like, hey, we were part of that Amazing Race show that never aired because they couldn't finish it.
Yeah, we really thought it'd be just a fun story we'd tell at cocktail parties. Like, oh my gosh, remember that? That was us. Because you look at that's why it's so spectacular that they were able to pull this off, because you look at just the foundation of what this travel show is and interacting with people and globally, how in this new world order of COVID, how could you possibly pull that off? But they did. So like Penn said, we didn't think about it for a long time.
Mm-hmm. So when you got the phone call and they're like, all right, it's back on. What were you guys? Were you like in panic mode? We have to like fully prepare for this.
No, we said no. We're like, thanks, have fun without us. It just didn't seem very responsible. Mm-hmm. But then what happened was CBS, they got one of their producers on the line who actually put together the safety package, and it was unbelievable. I mean, they changed the travel parameters. That was the first, probably most important thing, because you can't be running through airports and, crowded markets. But then they also had almost every day testing. They had these bubbles and zones of ways just to keep you safely with people who aren't going to give you an exposure risk. And by the time they got done with the plan, it was actually, we talked to each other. We're like, this is safer than us staying in our hometown.
Yeah.
And so then we kind of made the decision, like, let's do it.
Yeah. And it wasn't that we didn't want to go back. Of course we wanted to go back.
Yeah.
But as parents, we were in the middle of a pandemic, chancing one of us getting sick and having to stay behind even longer. Like that's what didn't feel responsible. But hey, I mean, they pulled it off. And just like Penn said, I did feel safer on the race course than in my hometown during that time.